Welcome to the Holly Hall Show. Let us explore the deeper meaning and purpose of life. This show delves into the mysteries of spirituality, the nature of consciousness, and the pursuit of the transcendence in the world that often feels chaotic and confusing. Each episode features thought provoking conversations with experts in the field of philosophy, psychology, spirituality, and more. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show because knowledge is power, and we are all in this together. All right, you're listening to the Holly Hall Show, and my very first guest, I'm so excited about, is going to share with you her quite vulnerable journey from being pretty much in the mainstream culture in the healthcare system. So we're just going to get right to it. We're going to start off with where Niloo started in her career many, many years ago and where she started. I think that's kind of important. And then we're also going to take a look at where she's at right now. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Holly. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we've had a lot of, beautiful conversations always. And I know for a fact that we are meant to be in each other's life and, we are helping in whatever way that we are meant to help. And I'm grateful also to be here with you today. And if I can share any message to inspire others, this is my path. This is my soul. This is what I love to do. Thank you.
And that's what we want to do. We want to inspire people because there's so many people since COVID started and they went remote and didn't want to go back to working in corporate or in that matrix culture paradigm. But they're struggling because they want that daily paycheck. And it's not always rainbows and cotton candy and unicorns. It's not easy to get out of the matrix, which is actually quite fascinating because there was a time when we hundreds of years ago, even 100 years ago, where there wasn't really such a thing as a matrix. There really wasn't such a thing as living the high life and what's it going to be like to just live a meager life. And I like how you said that about our friendship too. It started off as a client-based connection. And then when I went to Vancouver, she helped us right at the we'll talk about that with your career part. But you helped us, and that's what we must meet because we talked so much on the phone. And then so we finally did meet. But I do believe, and I'm sure I know you do too, is that we have soul family members and we're dispersed all over the globe. And that's because we have to be in this day and age. We can't. A lot of people say, well, where's my soul family? How come we're not all together? Well, in this day and age, you birthed yourself into an era where we all had to spread out. And that's what we had to do. And we'll meet each other. Thank goodness for the technology. That's how we're meeting each other. That's how it's beginning. So where did your career begin? Now you've got your PhD in family medicine. So you were a family doctor. And that started in Iran, where you're born and raised.
Yes, right. Yeah, I am born and raised for most of my part in Iran. And my medical degree obviously was, first happened when I was studying in medical school in Iran. And I have told a little bit of my story, very brief, in my podcast, which I basically created it just to speak from my heart and my truth and just share it and inspire other people, because it wasn't always the life that I wanted to live. And even going to medical school wasn't fully my own personal decision, although I know from a deep, soul perspective, I was meant to go to this path. But back then, I really wanted to go to arts, and I loved, creation, and I used to paint, and I do paint still, but that time was almost like something I wanted to do as a career. But anyway, it didn't happen because of some cultural values and beliefs that, being a doctor is better than being an artist. I'm sure so many people relate with that. But that's how I ended up going to medical school. And after years, obviously graduated not even knowing if this is 100% something I want to do. But nevertheless, I knew deep in my heart that I wanted to help people. And from a very, very young age, I think I was always connected to spiritual world and deeper stuff and esoterics and stars and space. So those are the things that I always loved. No wonder I'm always in the path of astrology and astrologers, because that was something I think my soul really had a deep connection. However, this was something I went, and I have no regrets, because it taught me a lot. It taught me so much about myself, about path of health and healing, and still is teaching me, and still is not finished, obviously, because you're talking here.
Right. You know, I really love your story, because thanks for sharing, because what happened was, you know, you moved from Iran to Canada, and which I think is absolutely ridiculous for all professionals like you, but you had to take your schooling again to maintain your PhD so you could practice as a doctor in Canada. And that
Yeah.
took you a couple of years. In the
Oh,
midst of
no,
that,
more than a
your
couple
life,
of years.
more than a couple of years. How long did it take?
A lot. 7 years.
Because you were
Another
a
7
mother.
years.
You were a mother too, right?
Yes, yes.
Two.
Yeah, mother of two. They are now young adults, but back then they were little kids.
And then you went through some drastic changes in your personal life during that time. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
became a single mom.
Yes, yes,
And
true. Yes, true.
when
Yeah,
I
yeah. Story of me coming to Canada. Actually, sometimes when I think about it, it feels so surreal. It feels like it was like a movie. I don't want to go to the detail of how we came, because it was not a very normal and usual way of,
why is that?
coming to Canada as a family, with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, that back then that's how young, how young or old my kids were. And so it was, a lot of challenges, I mean, we basically left everything that we had, which was a very comfortable life, at that time, compared to a lot of people. We just, with my ex, we just graduated, and he was working, he was very successful, he had a nice home, everything that a 3D life is considered to be success, we had. And I was happy to just be home and take care of my kids. That was kind of my job back those days. But we knew that this is not a place that we want to raise our children, because of all the things that has been happening for so many years in my country. So we literally left everything. We came here with, I don't know, a few $100s in our pocket. That was it. Nothing, no job, no money, just it was funny those days how we were living. I just don't want to go, but when I think about it, it feels it feels like it was another lifetime. Like literally, I feel like it was not even this lifetime. So
Wow.
yeah, and then me deciding to study all over again, and which it had to pass many exams and go through residency, which with 2 young children, it took me about 7 years to get my license, as an MD here, and be able to work as a
It's like
family.
starting all over again. That's how long it takes to get your.
Yeah. I think I'm used to just, closing chapters and opening new ones. It's just now, by now, I feel I'm an expert. Like, okay, goodbye, boom, now another one.
New chapter. You're
New chapter.
adventurous.
Exactly. I think somehow deep down, I just like it. It's like, okay, now let's see what is next. Okay,
I'm bored. Let's have a change. Let's just turn my whole world upside down and inside out. That's okay.
Exactly. So
Wow.
I guess that's how it is, and that's what I think my life is going to be. I think
So
that's how.
fast forward, you became an MD, family doctor. You had regular patients working under the government's healthcare system. In Canada, we have what's called, healthcare system, and people can go to their doctors and whatnot for virtually, paid for by the taxes. And just before COVID, I think, is when we met, and I did a reading for you, and
Mhm.
you started talking about how I'm not sure if this is what I want to keep doing. I don't
Yeah.
know how I'm going to leave this. And I think we had a few appointments for about 6 months before
Yeah.
you did. So tell me about that. How did it help doing a little bit of reading and coaching with me? And then what happened? How was that transformation for you? How challenging was that to get out of a mainstream system that was paying your bills and helping you live a good life again, going from
Yeah.
you had it
Yeah. I
all to
mean,
nothing again?
yeah, definitely. From a financial perspective, I was doing pretty good, especially, about the last maybe 2, 3 years of my practice before I gave up my license, because I paid a lot of my debts and loans and everything. But the thing is, even back those days, I was not really, it's like something was not aligned with what I believe, personally, when it comes to integrity and, doing things that resonate with you, with your energy. Even maybe I wasn't so fully in this spiritual, awakened path, but something in me was kind of not really satisfied or fulfilled with just kind of the way that the medical system has been going. Not even 2, 3 years ago, maybe just right from the beginning of my practice, which I started around 2010. I felt like, just treating people with the way we do is not right. I felt like there is a lot of discrepancies, a lot of dishonesty, a lot of misinformation. By the way, the word that is used a lot, but I felt these things has been happening for not just even past few years, but it's been happening for hundreds of years, and people are not being told the truth about their health, their body. Even the medical education and the universities are not giving us the right education to actually know about, human body the way that is empowering. It's always sickness, it's always symptoms, it's always, everything is separated, versus
Yeah,
everything
it's
is
about the sick
actually.
body, not about the healthy body.
Yeah, it's like versus like everything is connected, our body, our soul, our spirit, this is all one thing in different presentations, but none of these things obviously are taught, in medical school. So I always had this thing in me. And then obviously, you get sucked in and you're just working to, you're working to the point of burning out, which I did, and many other physicians, as we know, burning out, and they burn out. And I felt that, but it was, yeah, when you came, I just want to kind of tell you what was kind of, the combination of different things that kind of took me to make this decision like solid. Was basically in the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic started, when I had my first journey with ayahuasca, the plant medicine. And I really felt like my eyes are opening to many different sides of life and existence, which I never had those perspectives before. And then it was just interesting because right after that, things, people, opportunities, synchronicities started happening in a way that it was like everyone that was part of my evolutionary path started just appearing. And playing whatever part they were here to play, to sort of, not just kind of pushing me to make this decision, but I
Supporting
think,
you.
yeah, but just showing me, or kind of showing me the bigger picture of why I am here, on this
Yeah.
planet.
I remember
When I,
talking to you about that. Yeah.
yeah, when I didn't know fully before, I knew this is not it, but I didn't know, okay, then what that is,
Yeah.
Um,
That's a big problem a lot of people have. That's why they don't move. They don't
exactly,
change.
exactly. And then, yeah, and then my other journeys, and then you came along, and I think I had a little bit of, I told you, like, I always loved from very young age, I loved the stars and the space, and I was
Yeah.
reading magazines and things like this. So I feel like if you talk about past life, I think, and I had a past life regression. I don't know if I did it with you or someone else, which
We did
actually
do one,
I was
but
a, I was a I was a stargazer, and I always loved the stars, and I always talk to the stars, and I feel like I have been probably astrologer in other lifetimes. And
yeah,
then, astrology alone was like, it's like so yummy, so, something just so
your
full of
language.
mystery and ancient, and it would just so deeply resonate with my soul. And then, yeah, you did some readings, um, and I always feel, the messages come from others are not meant to tell us what to do, but it is meant to confirm what is in our heart.
Yeah.
And that's why I connect and continue my connections with people that they enforce that in me. And if they tell me, no, you have to do this or you don't have to do this, I'm probably not going to continue following up with them, because that's what I don't want to hear from others, and I don't want to do with other people, because I want them to tell me something that feels right in my heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, when you did readings for me, it felt the things you are telling me, they are, they are sort of clicking. Although I know you
You.
kind of wanted me to stay in the medical system because I know why, but at the same time, you knew why I am doing this. So
Well, I remember saying that you were going to quit in in that following May, or a year and a
ex-
half from there, May, which is when you did.
yeah,
And I think I only wanted you to keep your license because I thought you could still focus on another way of healing
yeah,
and
yeah,
still use your license so you could Medicare for people, medications and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
But you're a healer. You've got Neptune really strong in your chart, and that's always an
Oh
indicator
yeah,
of someone who's a healer for sure. But
yeah,
now
yeah.
you're going back to an older, original, probably a more native and natural way of healing. And I don't mean native like in indigenous, I mean native to our land. We are, we should be native to our land and use our land to
Mhm.
support us and heal us. This earth is here. It's got everything on it that we need.
Yes, yes. And I feel, yeah, all the changes that I have been feeling for the past 3 years, I would say it's been maybe massive, deep healing that I have been going through, has changed me so much in a deep way. Internally, I have to say more, because on the outside, I'm just a simple person. I like to live simple, and I don't like complications and things like this. And I feel like it doesn't matter how we look on the outside, if we change the way we dress or our hair or everything. It doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
It's just that's how we like to look. But I feel in the inside, so much has changed in me about my values about myself, my values about life, about money. And yeah, this past 2 years, that since I quit my job, it's been very, very challenging in so many ways, of not having that comfort of kind of relying on like a source of income, especially especially when plant medicine, which is again, plant medicine and astrology probably have been my biggest teachers and allies in, over the past few years, just helping me and molding me to become the person that I meant to be. It's been, they both are kind of showing me that in this life, it's like, if for people they believe in past life, which most people that they listen to you probably they believe in past life. I feel like this is how I'm getting more and more, and it's getting stronger. It's like, okay, we all have had past life, and we choose lessons and challenges and circumstances to grow. And obviously you can see it in your astrology chart, especially people like you, that they can like quickly say, oh, okay, this is your, maybe this is where your lessons, this is where you have to work more, your relationships, your work, and that's very, very cool and interesting. But I feel like in this life, my biggest lesson, maybe you can also confirm that in my astrological chart, is to integrate polarities. And I feel like with this integration, which is feminine, masculine, dark, light, shadow, light, I don't know, whatever polarities that can exist, is like bringing them together and integrate them and bring things into neutralization and harmony and peace and balance, which is like my soul has been longing for this. And everything that, I kind of did to some extent and degree in other lives, in this life, I have come to master, like fully master. And one of them is mastering my relationship with my, internal personal value, and how I want to be seen, and how I want to show myself to the world, like in most authentic version of myself that I have never lived before. So it's very new. I feel like this is a very, very new energy, and sometimes I don't know like what it is, because I still want to go back to my old, I am pulled to my old, but then I get this voice in me, in my heart, that it's okay, sometimes we go back to the old, but not in this life, not in this life. Like this life, you are here to completely just become something that you have never lived before. And sometimes we don't know what that is when we have never lived it before. So, and that's where I am. Like, I sometimes don't know who I am, but it's like a song that says, but I know who I am not. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know who I am yet, but I know who I am not, because I am not so many things that I thought I was, and I am not those ones. And I'm just
love that
discovering.
I love it.
Just unraveling and unlayering to really just be who I really am, which is truth, which is pure joy, pure love. And that's not definitely easy and fluffy.
It's not that easy. Everybody's like, I just want to find unconditional love. Really? Really, do you? Because it's unconditional, that's not easy, and I would have people go like, think of the person that makes you the most frustrated and angry or hurt, or and they'll think of somebody, right? My mom or my ex or an old friend of mine. I said, okay, now I want you to love them with all your heart and wish them the best and hope their life is the happiest that they've ever been. And they're like, no, I can't do that. That's unconditional love.
Good luck.
That's unconditional love.
It's like Ram Dass says, you think you are enlightened? Go spend the weekend with your family. That's when you're enlightened. Good luck.
Have fun.
Have fun.
You're a real rebel. Like, I'm looking at your chart right now, and you've got, when I said you had a strong Neptune, your Neptune is right up against your Mars, and that is the healer. That I need to take action on my healing modalities. But there's also this side of you that's a bit of a rebel, with Uranus also in a really good favor to Mars, Neptune. And that is that I have to do it my way. I have to do it different. I mean, you've been known to be kind of slapped on the hand a few times when you were in your profession because you took too much time with your clients, or you sent too many of them to naturopaths and didn't write up enough scripts. And, you know, just for people who want to know that sometimes you may go against your doctor, not giving you enough time, not supporting you. They don't welcome you as a professional in Canada anyways, to work in that way, to work alongside of other professionals that could probably help me in a different way than maybe what a prescription could. So your rebel and your ability to go against authority, which is strong in your chart as well too. And you can smell fear a mile away. You can smell this, you got the spidey sense that something's not right, something's wrong. There's something going on here. And I think when we get really distracted in the corporate world or in mainstream or in the matrix, we listen to that intuition and then we get distracted because I got to buy groceries, I got to pay bills, I got to get my paycheck, I got another 20 clients to see today or patients to see today, right? So I think that's where we get really, really distracted. So where was your tipping point? Like when did you realize I had enough, I'm done? Like what did it, not when, but what did it take for you to do that? Were you angry? Were you frustrated? Were you hurt? Was it planned? Did you make this long plan? Like, I'm just going to do this over the next 6 months? Or did you just one day wake up and go, that's it?
Yeah, I think I wanted to, I was very angry at the system and the authorities. I think some of it is also something that I have been carrying from other lifetimes. That's why I always wanted to rebel against this Saturnian, just kind of old, like the patriarchy energy. I always had this in my heart, like, no, you're not the boss of me.
Yeah.
I on the outside, I seemed like a very good girl, and I tried that role, when I was younger. But then I was kind of also very mischievous. So I remember in high school, I did few things that they kind of really surprised everyone at a school because they didn't expect that a good girl like me do those things. But I was kind of one of those, girls that was like, okay, girls, let's just do this, just kind of get into trouble, kind of this type of things. But it was very subtle and hard to recognize. And so I always had this, and I was talking about it, but everyone around me seemed like kind of, I was kind of like a black sheep always. I call myself a black sheep. And even my colleagues, they always call me like kind of like a hocus pocus doctor, weirdo. Like she talks always about these weird things and treatments. And she is always into, oh, let's learn this. Oh, let's try this, because I was never satisfied with just normal conventional treatments. And I always felt like this is very dumb and doesn't do really good job in most cases. So I always had this kind of anger and frustration in me, like that, I don't know how to get out of this, because I want to do what I want to do, but I can't. Then I can't just die in this system like this. I can't let my soul die. So yeah, for a few years I had this, and I was like telling myself, okay, next year I'm not gonna renew my license. I kept telling myself, maybe, I don't know, since 2018, because something happened which, I had a near-death experience from a very minor surgery. And back then I was working 14 days in a row, and it was like crazy. I was like maniac. And something happened which I needed to go through this, and I literally had a near-death experience. Now when I think about it more and more, I know that 100% was designed by something bigger.
So what happened? What was your experience like? You don't have to talk about how you ended up there with the surgery, but what did you see? Like, did you hover over your body? Did you go
Yeah,
somewhere?
so
Somebody
basically
told you messages?
I think it was a very short duration, because they just sort of brought me back to life. And they gave me some sedatives, and I was in pain for days, which I don't go to the detail of that. And then they gave me something to calm me down. And for the first time, I totally took off. So I have no memory. And I just remember that I'm feeling so much peace and love and just no pain. And it's just the light is coming. And it was very, very short, because then the nurse kind of just started shaking me. And I just kind of woke up, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you scared me. You couldn't breathe. I was trying to wake you up. You couldn't breathe." And then for the first time, after days of pain and anguish and misery, I just said, "Oh, that was so good." For the first time, I just felt so good, so much peace. Why did you wake me? Why did you wake me up? And she was like, "No, you freaked me out. I was just trying to wake you up." So yeah, I think it was maybe seconds, honestly. I'm not 100% sure, because obviously that time I was like, whatever, But now, when I know more about it, and I also had, death experiences with ayahuasca, I know exactly what happens. It's like you completely just, leave your body. Sometimes you're out of body. Sometimes you just know that, what you thought is real is not everything that you thought is real. And is different. You get into different experiences, but that it's a death experience. And that was like one of probably
out of body kind of like, let's talk about that, because you're more into plant medicine now. You've done a lot of ayahuasca experiences in Mexico and Costa Rica and Vancouver, and now you're looking at the mushrooms. You're gonna have to explain exactly what there's microdosing, there's as well, and you're looking at coaching and helping people that have trauma, life trauma, regular trauma, or OCDs, or other sadness, or depression, etc. This can help with all. And I know I actually sent to you that there's a summit with Gabor Mate, Chopra is also going to, Deepak Chopra, and a few other professionals. They're taking this psychedelics very seriously, that this can really help a lot of people that maybe be suicidal or severely addicted to opioids. There's a lot of research being done on this right now, and you were onto this a while ago. So tell us your experience. Personally, just to let everybody know, I'm terrified because I'm so sensitive to drugs and I have all those sensitivities. But I would like to know more about the microdosing part as well, too. So share your experience with people.
And then, like, to finish the last question, it was actually plant medicine that showed me and gave me the courage, because again, I told you, things were not aligned and I was postponing it. But there was a moment, actually, there was a moment when I came back from a trip, and then my body seized. And I talked to you about that, because I could not move. My whole left side went into a spasm. And I think that was when something told me, this is it, enough is enough, and I was like, okay. And then I literally went on computer and just sent my resignation letter. And end of May was the last day of my practice. It was terrifying, honestly. It was very terrifying, but something was telling me, at least for this time, this is what you need to do. And part of it was the messages of plant medicine that was coming to me about really going deeper into myself, because working that job, regardless of whatever that was happening in the system, it was not allowing me to focus on myself and my own deep healing, which the question that you have is basically, I feel, being a human, that's what, I think about it a lot. I feel majority of us come to this world with either traumas brought from other lives, or the traumas that we go, in our childhood. And so a lot of our
combination,
a lot of the things we do is coming from a subconscious point of view. Like, we don't know why we are doing what we are doing. our sadness, our anger, our shame, all these emotions, which, by the way, they can't be shut down and left alone. They are not coming from a source that we know particularly why they are with us. Sometimes it's so hard to understand it with the logical mind and with the conscious mind. But something like plant medicine, and again, because you said you're terrified, and that's very valid, because there also could be many reasons why people sometimes are terrified, and they are really why we can use them for our healing. The main aspect is not just a spiritual, we can go to that, but the scientific part of that is that they actually, by the neurochemical release and the substances that they sort of produce in our body, they help us to create new neurons, new neural pathways. And I'm honestly coming, and I'm sure a lot of people, either in the field of science or spiritual, beginning to understand that the nervous system is probably one of the most important systems in our body. And
the highway in our body delivers everything.
Exactly. It's like this network, which now when you think about it, mushrooms are also very similar to this network. Earth grids are very similar to this network, like the grids of the planet Earth. And pretty much, even if you look at stars and galaxies, they look like little nerve cells that they are connected to each other with like neurons, maybe invisible. And I feel like this resembling, it shows that how important this nervous system is. And that's what plant medicine, psychedelics, they are doing. And they are not new, obviously. We know that they have been on this planet at least for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Not maybe in this whole universe for millions of years, because I always feel, of course, they have been in other places too. Earth is not the only place that they exist,
That's right.
Because they are these very sacred molecules, sacred energies that they activate those part of our bodies, again, neurochemistry that has been sort of shut down or buried, that now it's supposed to waken up to help us in our evolutionary path. And trauma, as we all have some form of trauma, is what is keeping us in fight or flight, is what keeping us in repeating the old patterns, keeping us stuck, keeping us in old relationships, scarcity mindset, and not living a joyful life that we are meant to live. Because for me personally, I tell you, I mean, I have had a lot of deep messages from both mushroom and ayahuasca, which have been two plants that I've worked with personally. A lot of profound messages. But one of the main messages I received from this plant has been, just live a joyful life, dance, sing, be like a child. Just go back to your inner child and don't be so serious. Because for me, I feel I came to this world with sadness, with just this heavy sadness that I could never describe. I don't know, I didn't know why, but I knew it wasn't just from this life. I knew it came with me, because that was me when I was even back then, a child. Why a little child should have this deep sadness? I know shit happened, and it happens for a lot of people. So shit happens for me when I was a kid. And obviously I didn't have the most glorious, family and life, but it wasn't even, that couldn't even explain.
It
And
wasn't enough to explain the sadness, the heaviness in your heart.
exactly,
But you're empathic too. All healers are empathic. So you're going to feel
yeah,
the suffering of the world too.
exactly,
And
exactly.
you don't know where it's coming from.
But again, through all these journeys with plant medicine and people that they came into my life, I am learning to, I'm learning to going back to that state that is what we are meant to feel. And even even if I feel that 10 minutes for the whole day of 24 hours, it is
Relax.
so it is so good. It
It's
is
like a
so good.
reminder, I guess, that
Like
this is
pure
where you're
joy.
supposed to be.
Exactly. It's like that pure joy for no reason, because that pure joy has no reason. It's not because of your job. It's not because of how much money you make. It's not because of what kind
Just
of
joy.
relationship. It
Yeah.
is just so real, and you can't explain it. It is just there. And that's what plant medicine has been helping me, and is not for everyone. It is not something you take lightly. It is not, for me, in my opinion, to be used recreationally. It is
Mhm.
not something you
It's
take.
meditational, medicinal, meditational, spiritual,
Yeah, it has
part of
to
a
it has to
practice.
feel it has to feel you have to feel like that calling. You have to feel that. But there is a but always, and that is, even you that you are terrified can take it in a very safe situation, which what we call it set and the setting, and have a profound experience. It may not be a joyful ride when you are on it, but believe me, if you feel there is only fear that is stopping you from experiencing it, then there are ways that you can experience it in a very safe
Mhm.
and sort of calm situation, that you still have a good and profound experience after a while.
You were saying that the mushroom experience is much different than the ayahuasca, and that might be better for someone like me
It is.
that is a bit concerned about the ayahuasca experience. And I
Yeah,
have clients who've done it, and it's been miracle experiences for them. I have one client, it really profoundly changed his life forever
yeah.
after that. He's probably due for another one, honestly. Um, but
Yeah,
I've been looking into the micro dosing with the mushrooms as well. And there's definitely so many plant medicines out there. I've said this about you for over 2 years, that you were going to go down the plant natural medicine route and be able to support people that way. And I know you're inching your way there because there's so much about yourself that's being healed at the same time. So what's your aspirations? Like, where would you like to go with this? How do you think this can help people? This can, as I said, they're doing a huge summit with some of the top uh,
yeah,
thought leaders and medical
yeah.
leaders. I mean, Dr. Gabor Mate, if anybody knows him, psychiatrist, has been working with trauma and addictions for years out in Vancouver. And of course, pretty much everybody knows Deepak Chopra, and there's a few others there. So this is going to be a thing that's going to be a bit of a competition, I think, for the
Yeah,
regular medical society. I don't think they're going to like it. So what would you like to do? How can people get a hold of you for coaching or supporting, especially if they live in the Vancouver area, for one-on-one experiences? And who wants this? Who is this good for? Who's your favorite kind of best client that would come to you?
yeah. So again, for me, um, I'm very picky about what I do, especially when it's coming to healing and people's sacred journey, which is kind of, by the way, the name of my website is Sacred Journey, because
Take
I
your
think
journey, yeah.
this is a sacred journey, and I really see it sacred, and I see it with reverence and respect, both the person that is going through healing and the plant that I'm using. I really have a lot of honor and respect for these plants that have been ancient.
That's
Um,
cool.
so for me, I see endless possibilities, and I feel my path is just unfolding. I am not going to be shown fully, how this is going, but it's like I'm being shown like bits and pieces. And for now, what I'm getting for now is basically with, again, my last few experiences with psilocybin or mushroom, ceremonically, they have been showing me that this plant is going to be a big part of what I'm going to use, and help people with. But again, they are not telling me exactly where this is going, but I see big things. And I'm so excited, and at the same time, a little bit of warning and discernment is needed, both for us as helpers and guides, and people that they are going to do. So I would love to be part of the journey of people that they feel like truly called to work with these medicines, and they don't want to do it out of the place of obligation or competition, or it's just because it's trendy, but feeling that, I think this is part of my path. And of course, this is not everything, because nothing is going to be 100%. They're called magic mushroom. They don't do magic, and they don't suddenly remove all your problems away from your life. So there is a lot of work that we have to do with it during and after, that we have to take. To me, this is like a big responsibility, both for the person that is holding a space and delivering, this plant to, people they are going to use it, and for the people they are going to use it for their healing. It's like a work. It's like a work that you have assigned to do. And that's what I personally like to use. It's ceremonically. Like, I feel like I'm a ceremony person. I love to do everything in the form of ceremony, even the new moon, full moon, I just do a little bit of ceremony with myself or with other people. So for me, although I love to, maybe in future, I get more involved in the clinical setting and more of the scientific perspective. I have no form of resistance about it, because I feel they're all very good and valid, again, as long as we do it with respect and knowing and understanding how to use it. But for me right now, what I am really setting intention and preparing myself is to hold a space for people to use it for healing, and whether that's spiritual
Or their
reasons,
spiritual
or
journey. Yeah.
exactly, or they want to do it for healing their traumas, which is kind of all go hand in hand in a form of ceremony. So that's what I'm basically now creating. And and then there's my website, which there is like coaching and integration, and I love the integration aspect of it. So I always talk about it, and I always tell people, like, make sure when you do any form of plant, there is some post ceremony integration. You do it with someone, or get help, because that's a part that a lot of people get like kind of lost and confused, because it changes things, and you cannot go
Still a
about
drug. At the end of the day, it's still like a drug. It's made by Mother Earth, but we have to
exactly.
we have to honor that. Like you said, it's sacred. We have to honor it. We have to respect it.
Exactly. So that's where I am right now. But again, I feel there's like so much ideas, and there's so much that I'm thinking about it, as how this can help, or these plants, these compounds can help humanity again. But we're going to go through a period that unfortunately things are not going to be really nice, but we have to go through it. And now there is a very divine reason why they are now being kind of popped up from everywhere. And I think it's like planet Earth is giving us another opportunity, because we sort of messed up back in 60s, with like not using them properly. And, they were like
Using
using
it recreational.
exactly. And they had to go down again. They had to go hide, underground, and they had to be used only in jungles and with indigenous people. But they're coming back to our societies for a reason, and hopefully this time we really use them with more intention, better intention, and higher values and respect that it really is going to shift, our mindset and heal, our traumas. So that's what, I'm really hoping for.
What a wonderful journey you've been on. And I have to tell you, I mean, it's wonderful when you look at the big macro size of it, but when you look at it in its little compartmentalized pieces, you've definitely gone down some really dark places, some lost where you felt lost. And I love the patience, the determination that you've had, because this has been a whole lifetime journey, but literally the last 3 years has been when you've gone through the wormhole of who you were, almost like a soul rebirth, and who you are now. And a lot of people that are watching this, I think they're going to benefit from that, because some people want it tomorrow. So I'm going to quit my job, then tomorrow I have to be successful. I'm not quitting my job unless tomorrow I'm going to be successful. And it doesn't work that way in most cases. And even if it did, even getting successful that fast, as we know, just looking at some celebrities, can be quite detrimental to their long-term mental health. And I'm looking at your chart. You got Saturn going to be going over your sun soon, your sun sign soon, but not super soon. It'll be a year from now, which is where it would show great success, because it's right up against your house of career. And also Neptune going over your north node. And this is what's really neat, because now I look at a lot of it, the north node, south node. And when you talk about polarity, you were talking about, I feel like I've got this polarity that I kind of have fused together, and that's your north node and south node is Pisces and Virgo. Okay, so you've also got another planet going over Chiron, and you've got another planet going over your north node. Chiron, in my interpretation, is what we've come here to do, to bridge our spirituality with our humanness, or our heaven and earth. It's the bridge that we're supposed to attain in this lifetime. So that's going over. So that shows me success, like literally right now, starting your success in your career, that is going to support you when it really takes solid foundation, solid ground in March of 2024. I love that you have all this patience around your career, because it really shows people that it's not always an overnight success, nor should it be an overnight success, because you're going to have to catch up. You still got a lot of healing journeys all of us have to go on in order to get to that successful place. And what I love about what you've said too, is that regardless of the slave to the wage and the paycheck, and being a single mom to, at that time, young adults, older teenagers, young adults, you still did it. I mean, push had to come to shove, but you still honored who you are and what your soul is, and you're much happier now, regardless of some financial struggles that you had been through in the past. And you're honoring what your soul was meant to do here. And as long as money isn't going to bring us happiness, it's definitely a great byproduct of any type of job, or even finding what we love to do. But at the end of the day, if that's the only reason you're doing your job is for the paycheck, then you're not going to be fulfilled or happy. And your body's going to start breaking down, as you had the frozen shoulder experience. Something's going to start breaking down and telling you to change direction. And if you really are a healer, you can't stop that journey. Nothing's going to stop it at all. No, nothing will stop you from going on that journey. And I tell people that. So we're going to wrap this up. I do want you to share your website, and if you've got any last words of wisdom for our audience. And I would like to have you back one day. I hope you would come back when you're deeper into your career journey, and you can help support people with some new knowledge that you may be receiving in the future with all this great plant medicine future that I see for us on the planet. What can you say to help people?
Yeah, thank you so much, Holly. I really enjoyed, as always, talking to you. Yeah, I think to me, life is a mystery. It's a very, again, sacred journey that we are here to learn patience. We are here to learn love for ourselves. Most of all, the most important thing, finding deep connection to our soul and falling in love. And from that space, inspire others and empower others to also find in themselves. So I feel this is a very, very personal journey, which the common thing is a journey of inside out rather than outside in.
Yeah.
But it takes courage, it takes a strength, it takes patience, trust, and nevertheless, I would never want to exchange it with anything, with all the difficulties and challenges that I had to go through and experience. If I had to live my life again, this would be the life I want to live, with all the unknown and all the mystery that still has not been revealed to me. So yeah, be patient. My message is be patient with yourself, be compassionate and loving with yourself. Love every part of you, all the, shadows, all the aspects that we don't like about ourselves, because that's the key. That's the key to come back to wholeness. And just never be afraid to fall and make mistakes and fail, because that's the funnest part of living life as a human being. And that's why we are here. We are here for this. So yeah, that's kind of,
Yeah.
message I
Thank
can
you.
give to
Thank you
others.
for sharing with us your sacred journey. I know this is going to help a lot of people. Whatever information Niloo wants to share will be below the video for you to connect with her or contact with her. Thank you again, Niloo.
Thank you
And
so much.
until next time, everyone, bye-bye. Namaste.
Bye.
I am a master astrologer who have helped many clients to make a transition into the world that they love and is supporting their deeper soul's mission. Every Monday, we'll add a new episode. So like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification so that you can get notified every Monday when we have a brand new guest on. Maybe you'll be the next one. Stay.